Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you're doing well today, and of course, welcome back to another Cars 3 diecast review. Today, we have Mac iCar, the next generation Apple racer from Cars 3. And just to let everyone know right off the bat, this is a custom. It is not an actual release from Mattel, so don't think that you can find this guy on eBay, Amazon, or at your local Walmart store. That won't happen until maybe they actually release this guy, but that may not be for a while. It may not be forever, because if you guys remember, the Apple Racer, which is that guy right there, was in the first Cars movie, but he got a very limited release from Mattel, and we'll talk about that later. But right now, I want to give attention to the package here and the person who made this custom. So big thanks to Jim Scavenger for making this absolutely stunning custom. He does amazing work. I think I have one other of his customs, and it's the Halloween Lightning McQueen. Maybe I'll do a video on that in the future, but I knew I had to do a video on this guy as soon as I got him, just because with the hype of Cars 3, I sure hope you guys would enjoy this review. So let's dive right into it with the package. I mean, can you guys believe it? He repackaged the custom that he made. Not only did he paint this guy, all the decals and whatnot, but he put him back in the package, did a whole unique name tag as well. Even though I don't think it's Mac iCar anymore, that was the name of the Cars 1 stock car racer. And now in Cars 3, there's a stock car Apple racer. I'll try to put a picture of him on the screen right now. It's kind of blurry, but it's white, and you can kind of see like a gray apple in the center, so it's likely that would be the Apple Racer, because there are not many white racers. And then you have the next gen version, which I think was in a trailer as well. Again, it's kind of like a white blur, but I'll show you guys. You guys can make your own decision. And I think we've also seen Team Apple in the pits. You can see like the crew chief and some pitties and whatnot. So they're definitely giving the Easter eggs to Apple in this Cars 3 movie. I know they did an Easter egg in Cars 2 where it was like iPhone apps, something about Holly Schiffwell making iPhone apps. And obviously in Cars 1, same thing, but only one racer. Now we have two racers and a whole team. So there you go. I think it's a new name though. So in the comment section below, let me know what you want to call this guy. Any name. I'll try to pick the best one, and then maybe I'll announce it in my next video, or I'll pin the comments. Just to let you guys know as well, this guy was known as Mac iCar, like I said, and Matthew Overtaker. I definitely prefer Mac iCar because obviously iCar, iPhone, iPad, it fits with the whole theme of Apple. But there you just have the typical Cars 3 packaging. On the back, you have Chick Hicks with headset, Cruz Ramirez, Jack DePose, Dud Thrallman, Parker Braxton, and Ralph Carlo. I've reviewed all of these guys by now. Blindsided by a new generation of Piston car racers, Lightning McQueen finds himself suddenly pushed out of the sport he loves. To get back on top, he will need the help of a young race technician, inspiration from the late fabulous Hudson Hornet, and guidance from a few old friends along the way. So everything the same because he used the package of, you know what, I'm not entirely sure, but I know that he used Danny Swervez to paint the Apple Racer here, and therefore you have to have like the same blister to fit him. So maybe it's him, but I don't know if Danny has the same back as this, so I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to maybe ask him, or maybe I'll just try to find out on my own. But I'll be right back with this guy opened up. I know it's kind of hard to open this guy up because he looks awesome in the package, but we gotta do it. He'll look better out of the package. Before we move on to the review, I want to show you guys what Jim used as inspiration for the Apple Racer. So let's compare here from the Meet the Cars book, Cars 3 edition. This is on the start of the next gen category. As you can see, next gen racer. They use the Apple Racer very subtly to introduce all the next gens. So this is like the example one because they don't really show all of the next gens. They just show Jackson Storm, his hauler, and then the ones that speak in the movie like Chase, Ryan, Bubba, and Danny Swervez. So that's all. They use the Apple one to kind of introduce them as an example. I find that pretty cool, but you don't actually see any Apple logos. It's white, obviously, so that's kind of an indication. And that's also 84, which was the number of the Apple Racer in Cars 1. They used that number because that was the year 1984 that Apple was founded, I think. Or maybe it was like the first year that they sold a computer. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a very significant year for the company Apple, so that's why they use the number 84. So it looks like the Apple Racer, but you can't be 100% sure. If you want to pause and read that, by the way, it has nothing to do with Apple, so I'm not going to read it to you guys. Look at, there's Jackson right there, but I have better inspiration for you guys, because after that, we have the Art of Cars 3 book. I love these books, by the way. I definitely recommend them. So there's this amazing page. It's my favorite page of the book, where we can see most of the Piston Cup racers in their stock car forms. And then when we flip the page like this, we can see how they change from stock car to next gen. So there you have combustor, and then you have next gen combustor. Stock car Gasprin, next gen Gasprin. So you have stock car Apple up here, which, like I showed you guys earlier, was that blur, probably. You know, we don't really have anything like that, because I have the next gen Apple from Jim Scavenger, and then the stock car Apple from Cars 1. So we don't have a diecast of this guy just yet. Maybe I'll ask Jim to make a custom of it. Alright, let's flip the page here. And then you have the stock car Apple up there. Of course, he has to be on the top row, so it's going to be a little hard to get a good angle. Plus, the way these pages are, they kind of like flip outward instead of like the normal. I don't know how to explain this exactly, but we're going to try here without hitting any cars off my table. Maybe I should just show a picture on the screen, take a picture of the book, and then show it, but I want to give you guys the whole experience. Alright, just give me a second to move some cars away, because I don't want to have a catastrophe occur. But I probably will take a picture of the book and then show it so you guys can get a side-by-side comparison. But, alright, it's up there. You guys can see 84. It's hard to see the circuitry, because there's like circuitry behind the car. Actually, not behind, but like on the back portion. So I'm going to lift the camera up here. Can you guys see the circuitry right there? Looks pretty cool, right? And then you can faintly see the Apple logo on the hood there. There's no Apple logo on the side. Jim Scavenger added that in on his own, which I think was a good improvement, because these aren't the final designs. Like, for example, Easy Idol down there is not actually 51 in the movie. He's 15 because Dinoco Cruz gets to be 51. Alright guys, that was a little awkward. I'm sorry for that, but I wanted to give you guys like the full experience and show everything. And that is definitely my favorite book, I think, that I've gotten for Cars 3. I've gotten like the poster book where it shows like all the cool posters. And then I got the Meet the Cars book, obviously, which is always good. 3rd edition of that. And then the Art of Cars, which is always the best, because you can see like what they were originally going to do and then what actually ended up happening. So we're going to move the camera down. I kind of like doing this better than cuts, because it works a little bit easier for me in the editing stage. As I say that, I take a cut. Well guys, when I said the first word, I just started coughing like crazy. So it was awful. I had to cut. But normally I wouldn't like to do that. It's easier to have one like solid flow of a clip. But now it's time to get right into the review of this awesome guy. So I already talked about the appearance, release. It's a big fat question mark. We don't know if it'll ever happen. Of course, the Mac iCar, the Apple Racer from Cars 1, was only released in the Motor Speedway of the Sol set, which I believe 1,000 were made. This guy right here is a custom as well, but I do have the real thing. It's just packed away in a box with the actual Motor Speedway of the Sol set. I really need to find a spot to put that on display, and then I'll do a video for it, but right now it's all packed away. But they're very similar, and for the sake of this video, we can use the custom Apple Racer I have from Cars 1 here. So like I said, only 1,000 releases. Apple only allowed Mattel to make 1,000. But you may have noticed on eBay from China there are like gazillions, and those are factory customs. They literally just, I don't know, pump those out. They grind them out like there's no tomorrow. They're the factory workers that work for Mattel, but on their off time, instead of hanging out with friends or going to dinner, they make more cars and sell them on eBay. But just so you guys know, this is an American handmade custom, not from China, not from the factory, so it's a lot better quality. You know, you never quite know what you're going to get with the factory customs. They might be alright quality, or they might be complete trash. But either way, the prices are generally really affordable, so it's a nice placeholder rather than getting a handmade custom for maybe $50 or the real thing for hundreds of dollars. So like I said, definitely a good placeholder. So what I'm trying to get to is that Apple may only allow Mattel to make so many of the Apple racers or anything Apple from Cars 3 because it's their branding and everything. So we'll just have to wait and see. They may not allow any, but it's likely again that something similar will happen to the Motor Speedway of the South set. I'm not entirely sure yet. I kind of find it hard to believe that they'll make another 36 car set. But maybe it'll be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or something along those lines. If they do make the Apple cars from Cars 3, they will be limited. It's not like they're going to be Tim Treadless that you can just walk into a store and purchase one. Apple's definitely not going to let that happen. Alright, so let's dive into the review of this guy actually here as a physical diecast. So you can see the faint Apple logo there. It's just the outline. Looks really, really good. And I'll also be showing like the picture from the Art of the Cars book so you guys can see a side-by-side comparison because I know it was kind of hard to see there in the book. You can also see that he changed the expression from Daniel Suarez. You know, the top of the eyes look kind of similar, but the bottom, he's not really squinting. He's just like straight out determined. The mouth is the same, obviously, because it's sculpted into the model, but I'm really impressed that he changed the eyes. That's difficult, and, you know, I have no idea how to do that myself. So, great job, Jim Scavenger. The headlights are also different. As you can see on the Apple Racer, they're a little curvy, but on Danny Suarez, they're completely straight. It's kind of like a line there. So I like that. The little vents down here are not on the Apple Racer, and that's completely fine. I don't really mind. I like how it's more white because if he added the vents, then it would break up the white and it wouldn't look as clean in my opinion. On the side here he is 84, which is not on the version from the Art of Cars, but only makes sense for him to have the number on the side. His contingency sponsors are the Piston Cup, Carbon Cyber, what is that, Synergy, and then Combustor. They're in black there, so it's kind of hard to see. Here's Danny Suarez. You can see his contingency sponsors are the same. So if you guys don't know, all of the next-gen racers have the same contingency sponsors, and all of the stock car racers have the same as well. Or actually, they have their own set that are the same throughout. So here's Tim Treadless. You can see that they are the same. I like how it's black on the white there. Looks pretty cool. Of course, you have the Apple logo there, just the straight up Apple. And then you have the circuitry, which I'm sure was really hard to do. So again, awesome job, Mr. Scavenger. I just love that circuitry right there. Looks amazing. And then you have the gas cap right there. Same on Danny. I mean, Danny looks amazing, and you have to have all the next gens look really cool all next to each other. I mean, they have a certain caliber to reach, so that circuitry, all the detail in that definitely brings them up to the level of Danny with the gold foil and all the OGs inside the gold foil there. He has black Lightyear tires along with the black rims right there. You can see that white text along the tire. It actually does say Lightyear in that, but it's very, very hard to see. Like, it would say it right there. And you can kind of see some gold outline that's left over from Danny because Danny has the outline around the rims. And so Jim Scavenger tried to clean that up and cover it, but you can still kind of see some of that, but it's not that visible. And of course, moving on to the roof now, he has the roof flaps, 84, like any racer would have, of course, number on top, and then the roof flaps. I like the spoiler, it's completely white. No design on it at all. Makes it look clean. I feel like that would be accurate. I don't quite remember seeing the spoiler in the Art of Cars book. Maybe it's blank, I'm not entirely sure. On the back here you have 84, just very, very simple. I like the simplicity of the Apple Racer. I mean, that's what makes him look so cool, and it's really the staple of Apple as a company. Just very simple, elegant designs. Here's the base. You can see that the rivets were removed and now he's glued back together there. And that is pretty much all for my review of Mr. Apple Next Gen Racer. I need to find a name for him. So guys, please let me know a name. Make it a really good name. You can definitely see that these two are the same model, by the way. I just wanted to show you guys that. And now I just want to do one more thing here. So I'll show you guys what it looks like from the Art of the Cars book alongside the diecast here, because we weren't able to do it before. You can kind of see the circuitry, I hope. Hopefully my hand's not in the way or anything. I'm just trying to visualize where the screenshot will go on the screen. There's the circuitry. Really, really cool. Definitely, probably my favorite Cars 3 car so far. So happy to have Apple. Alright guys, so that's pretty much all for my review of the Apple Next Generation Racer from Cars 3. Let's bring in the team now. These two are so hard to compare because they are very different. You just have the Apple logos, of course. Gray Apple, it's filled in versus having the outline there. And then 84. I like how the contingency sponsors are similar, like his are all lined up in black and white there, very simple. And there you just have black and white, very simple. White rims versus black rims, and you can see a lot better on the actual tire on the old Racer. Now it's just really a sliver, like I said before. Just a little bit more of a comparison here. Again, I love the simple design. The circuitry looks really cool. The other racers, the stock cars from both Cars 3 and Cars 1 do not have that. Cannot wait until we have the stock car from Cars 3. That'll make 3 Apple Racers. And man, they'll look awesome together. The evolution. Alright, so now I think that is all for the comparison there. I'm sorry if this review is kind of all over the place. I came back to it after starting it because family arrived. And so, had to go talk to them. Alright, here is my custom team that I got from the same person who made the Racer. You have the Pitty right here and the crew chief. They actually all match pretty well, with the exception that the apples were previously filled in with gray and now you just have the outline, but still everyone looks really, really cool together. Of course, we can do a little pit stop scene right here. Let's get a better angle actually. Bam, that looks good. Got crew chief up here and we got the old Racer right there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Jim Scavenger, for making this phenomenal custom. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and let me know in the comments section below if you prefer the Cars 3 Next Gen Apple Racer or the previous Cars 1 stock car version. And also, let me know your thoughts on whether or not the Apple Racer or both of them from Cars 3 will get released from Mattel. And if so, how? Like, will it be another Motor Speedway of the Saw set? Or maybe he'll just be a typical release, even though I highly doubt that. But thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye now!